YouTube, Rook here from Rook Geek Goodness, my little channel on the web for all things geeky and cool. And happy Halloween for 2018 for all my viewers and subscribers. Now, in a prior stream, I talked about doing a Halloween-themed review video, something a little spooky, a little bit off the beaten path, something I'm not very comfortable doing, and we're going to be doing a horror-themed review. This time, a horror-themed review with 8-bit pops. We're going to be looking at the Pop 8-bit number 22 Pop, Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger, and Pop 8-bit number 23, Friday 13th, Jason Voorhees. Now, these are sort of a nostalgia piece. There's a throwback to the way things looked, at least for video games and design, back in the early 80s when these are horror icons, and these were presented in video game formats like this. This is how they actually looked on screen. I think it's super cool to go back to that feeling of nostalgia, to that time period when these were the norm. This is how things look back in the day. So we're going to do a full breakdown segment. We'll look at the packaging as a whole. We'll look at the presentation, and we'll conclude in final thoughts for you, the viewer. Should you actually spend the money and pick up the 8-bit pops for Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger number 22, and the Friday 13th Jason Voorhees pop? Stay tuned, guys. We'll go to a breakdown. Alright, guys, we're in a breakdown segment looking at the 8-bit Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger and the 8-bit Friday 13th Jason Voorhees. And our very first thing we always do is look at the packaging and presentation. So let's move Jason off the side here and look at Freddy first. Great design. This is an 8-bit pop. It's supposed to be very stylized, look a little different than your traditional pop. At the top here you have Pop 8-bit, you have Nightmare on Elm Street, you have Pop number 22. On this side we have a shot of Freddy, the way he would look in the 8-bit design. Over here you have 8-bit text, a little different little font they would normally use. This is Pop number 22. On the top you have a picture of him as well. And on the back there's no other pops in the wave. It's just him right here with a little side shot and a really cool picture of his head. Really cool design for Freddy. Now if we look at the Jason Voorhees one, very similar design. You have Pop 8-bit here, Friday 13th listed on the top, Pop number 23. On the side you have a side shot of him, looks really good. It says Pop 8-bit at the top, it says number 23 and Jason Voorhees. Again, we have the 8-bit sort of text, a little different font presentation. Number 23, a picture of his head. On the top of the packaging you have the very same here. And on the back again, showcasing a shot of him and a different sort of shot which is showcasing just Jason from Friday 13th. So as a whole, I think both these are really good pops. Let's get these out of packaging and continue the breakdown. Alright, guys, we have a Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees out of packaging. The very first thing we always do after we unbox something is look at the paint and presentation. Let's take a look at Freddy Krueger first. We'll move Jason out of the shot. Freddy looks really good. He's in his traditional brown hat like we've always seen before. Again, these are 8-bit pops. There is no articulation on the head. It's all one blocky solid form, and that's okay with me. That's what you're buying this figure for. You're buying it for nostalgia's sake. As I mentioned, he has his brown hat. He sort of has his burns on his head, as you can see right there. As I'll kind of spin him around so you can see some of the burn markings he had from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. He is sporting his green and red sweater that he normally is known to have, and he has his clawed glove right there as well. I do like how they made it 8-bit in the design. Looks really cool. I think it's a nice little touch there. And he has the standard brown pants that he has on right there. I do like the way he looks. Again, he is a throwback design to the old school 8-bit design. Again, no articulation. What you see is what you get. So let's take Freddy out of the shot. So let's take a look at Jason Voorhees, the killer of Crystal Lake. He looks really good, wearing his traditional hockey mask with the red little chevrons in the front here. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comment sections, guys, but I believe the fake killer for Friday 13th was in Friday 13th number 5, and he had blue chevrons, not red ones, as you see Jason having right here. The mask does go across the top and on the sides. You see sort of straps there. So I think it looks really good. Nice attention to detail, Funko. The mask itself is sort of a white beige color. He does have his bloody knife, which I do like, the machete, and he's wearing sort of an olive green trench coat or jacket. So it does look really good. Very plain design when it comes to Jason. Again, no articulation. That's what its 8-bit pops are all about. So we bring both pops back in. We have Freddy and Jason. Both these I think are good as a collective piece. I would think buying both of these, if you're a Funko fan, if you're a horror fan, if you're an 8-bit fan, absolutely pick both these guys up for your collection. With that being said, let's go to final thoughts and wrap up this video. Alright, guys, final thoughts on the 8-bit Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger and the 8-bit Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees. You have to ask yourself two important questions if you want to get these guys for your collection. First and foremost, are you a horror fan? Next question is, do you like the 8-bit presentation? Do you like how these guys look? Because you lose the articulation, but you gain this blocky nostalgia feeling. You have to take the give and take with these two pops. There is, again, no articulation. It's all a blocky piece. What you see is what you get. But what you get is something very cool. You get this really really neat design for Freddy Krueger. His traditional hat, as we talked about in the breakdown, his sweater, his clawed glove, and what not to love with Jason with the machete and the hockey mask. It looks great. This is how things look, again, back in the day. Back in the 80s, back in the days of Nintendo, the PlayStation 1, the Super Nintendo. This is how things look back in the early 80s, and I really like the presentation for these guys. Next, of course, we have to talk about price point. The price isn't that bad. You're looking at about $10, maybe $15 US. There is an Entertainment Earth exclusive version, I believe, of this guy here, where he's coming from, I think, the NES version of Friday the 13th's game, where he's sort of in a purple, gray, and dark blue paint variant. I think it's the same outfit, but different paint variation. I think that looks good as well. I think that would be a pickup if you like horror and 8-bit pops. Again, you lose the articulation, but you make it up with the design and feel. So my personal opinion, they're really good pops. If you like maybe horror and not 8-bit, maybe pick up one and not the other. That's my personal opinion. So I hope you like this Halloween-themed review of, again, the Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger and the Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees. I hope you click that like button. Always click subscribe. When you subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon to be notified of my latest videos. And of course, last but not least, you can click Windows over here to watch more of my content. Take care, guys. Hope you have a happy Halloween, and bye-bye.